So we are here today with Pat Chambers from
County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust charity.
otherwise known as
CDDFT charity. Or I do like to say your local NHS charity. It's a lot quicker and people know we're there as an NHS.
Fantastic. No, Pat has agreed to come in and speak with us about some of the projects that she's working on and where we can support as an organisation.
Yeah, so we're just talking through our corporate social responsibility strategy and how we can align and support moving forward.
Looking forward to learning more about what you actually do and how we can interact together.
So that's the calendar we've got set in stone. Would love any sort of guidance if you think we could add any more to it. I think the main driver for us is awareness and how we get involved and make sure that we give each aspect a breakdown and sort of deal with it individually. They all get the fair time to be focused on. So because we'll share that with you, and then like I say, if we can link up with any part of it, if there's anything that you're doing that we could get more involved with, let us know. But one of the questions I was going to ask is there anything that sort of springs to mind outside of the golf day that we could get involved with that's part of your strategy that we might align with a bit more with the trust, with yourselves? Is there anything additional?
Well, with the trust I can see some things that are jumping off the page here that we've got some synergies with, and I think that itself creates an opportunity to see what you can do. And I know looking at this World Cancer Day, previously for another organisation, we've arranged for one of the community team or one of the cancer care team to actually come out and speak to employees directly, to actually say, you know, certainly in and around cancer, early diagnosis is the key to having a healthy life. They mentioned things that you probably do as an employer in saying about staying healthy, eating healthy, and they're not saying that you should be a total teetotaler, but reducing your alcohol take, and yes, stop smoking where you can, but how to get help to reduce smoking or stay healthy. And the biggest thing that it does is very often, by a member of the nursing team being there, is sometimes staff will go over and ask a question that they wouldn't otherwise ask.
Yeah.
Or
take
they
the time out of the day to do that.
Absolutely. And it's that time we've done it before. We've done almost a pop-up shop to say we're here, we're supporting it. Come and ask the questions yourself and find out, because it really does make a difference. So yeah, there's quite a few here. I definitely think that we could work alongside you with this.
I'd definitely be interested if we could move forward with that, because we found before when you get people in specialities, it's the education, it's the awareness, it's the support of where to go to next. Like I say, just puts it on the radar with everybody. So I'll get some more information off you on that one if you don't mind, please.
Absolutely. And a lot of people I know will put off getting checked because they think, oh, it's hard to get a doctor's appointment, or I don't want to make a fuss, or other people are worse off than me, and they put it off. And unfortunately, we do get too many people who come and they're already at a stage 3 or a stage 4 on diagnosis, where really when you ask them, they'll say, oh, well, I felt that lump, or I've had that persistent cough and I've done nothing about it and I've just ignored it. And it's that confidence to say, do get yourself checked. You know your body better than anybody else does, and get yourself checked. I love the Volunteers Week, of course, looking here as well. Again, we'd look for opportunities on there to see how you could help.
Definitely. And you mentioned earlier about sort of tree planting. We've got something called the Sharpsmart Forest, not physically here. We've sort of sponsored and planted them elsewhere, but we could plant some of the Sharpsmart Forest at your location and be there to support with volunteering and sort of expensing as well. If that
We'd love it. And I know Sam would love it as well, because he's really keen on helping support the environment. But for us, it's creating those lovely spaces where somebody can come outside of hospital, whether they're a patient, a visitor, or even our staff. And everybody feels better when they're surrounded by nature and they've got somewhere nice to go. But very often we're that busy expanding the hospitals and putting up new buildings that we lose some of those spaces. So we've got to focus on putting them back So yeah, that would be great.
Or even with the older sites, there's not a lot of room to work with, is
Yeah.
there? I know there's a lot of revamping going on, but
Yeah.
anything like that, count us in.
Brilliant.
And Pat, I have a question. Just from, obviously your role's quite focused, you've got things that you need to achieve. What would you say, I mean, there's a couple of things here. As an organisation, we're looking to see how we can support our customers and, in line with our CSR strategy, by giving time. So we have a business where there's people, we want to be able to give time to support some of these projects as we're discussing here. But from your perspective, what would you say was your biggest focus or key priority, and what are your biggest challenges? So then people like us could come and maybe support some of those challenges.
Probably my biggest challenge is the size of the geographical area that we cover and support. So County Durham and Darlington has 8 hospitals and over 150 community locations. And we are a tiny charity team of just 3 people.
Right, okay.
So it's just like now, this busy period coming up to Christmas, there literally aren't enough hours in the day to be able to go and chase down donations that will make a difference to all of the patients that we will support during the Christmas period. So in practical terms, it's helping to cover the vast geography that we've got. And by the same token, when we are so busy, I would say doing the work is we can lose sight often of growing the charity. And so that awareness with your client base, your wider client base, that we are here, and if they are local and within the grounds of, County Durham and Darlington, we would love to talk to them as well and be involved with them. It makes a real difference to us, because we are the team. It's tiny, and we're not only sourcing what is needed, we're fundraising for it and then going back, seeing it being delivered. So very shortly we're just going to be launching the new bereavement suite it's a maternity bereavement suite in the University Hospital of North Durham. And not everybody likes to consider that they might not take their baby home with them. And the saddest thing is that if you are in an environment where you are with other mums who have their baby and you've lost your baby, so having a dedicated suite where that family can go and grieve the loss of their child and have their baby with them for up to 72 hours and create some memories, photos, handprints. But that's all been funded by charity. That was a huge amount of fundraising to actually make that happen, and to be able to provide all the things that you would need, from even the cool cot that will keep the baby cool for up to 72 hours, so a mum and dad can have those family pictures and create them that the baby was there and enjoyed them, and family can come and go, make themselves a snack, and be in a place where they're not passing other mums who have their baby, because that's the saddest thing. And that's just one project. We fund a lot of projects through the frailty unit, people with dementia. Sadly, there aren't enough spaces out in the community, so very often we have patients who are in hospital for longer than we would actually like to see them. But putting colourful murals on corridors and spaces creates an environment where the patients believe they're actually outside when they're not. They're actually inside a hospital ward. But psychologically, having that different visual environment around them makes them think that they're actually out. We've got some pictures where they can sit down and have a cup of coffee. So when the tea trolley is coming by, they get their cup of tea or coffee and they're sat on chairs like this with a little table, and it's outside what they think is the bakery or the post office, and they think they're outdoors, but they're not. They're in a hospital ward, and it's just changing the environment so it makes a big difference for our patients.
Well, and these are incredible projects that probably there was no awareness. Like I wasn't to know that these types of things happen through the work that you and the team do and support. So I think raising that awareness is really critical. So anything we can do to help that with it, whether it be on social media or the discussions with our peers and other customers. And you also mentioned some other things. What would you say was your most fulfilled outcome or project that you've delivered with the team?
That's a hard one because everyone is a winning project.
Yeah.
It truly is. It's hard to pick one. The one I did mention was we know that we saved a life, and that was through funding in education.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually raised the money to provide training out in the community and to local organisations that work with young people, and it is to reduce teenage suicide within County Durham and Darlington. And it was to know how to provide early intervention work with young people. And one of the people who attended the training course and went away, he was out doing a cycle run on a Sunday, and he saw a child that previously, he said, without the training, he would have cycled straight by, but having had the training, he actually stopped and spoke to the young lad. And he said he challenged himself even in walking over, that what man in his right mind would go and speak to a child. But he said, I remembered the training, I went over and I spoke to him. And that young lad was intent on taking his own life. And through the skills that this person developed on that training course, he was able to provide a different outcome on that day, to contact the lad's parents, to be able to signpost and get additional mental health support and make a difference. So I really think, we fund education as well, and education raises awareness, gives confidence, and allows people to save lives. So probably the biggest, most memorable thing is knowing that what we did in raising money has saved a life.
Wow, absolutely, that's amazing.
Amazing that there's only 3 of you.
I know.
On the team.
I know, it is. It's hard work. It never stops. And I know I tortured you to play golf and, or look at the other events. Do you want to do the Yorkshire Three Peaks? Do you want to, I don't know, throw yourself out of an aeroplane and skydive?
We'll have some volunteers in mind, I'm sure, for all of those things.
That's one way we fundraise, because doing a lot of those things doesn't require a lot of resource from us to actually do it. Mm-hmm. Like if we're organising a golf day and businesses sign up quickly and pay the bills quickly when we send out the bills, of course, when we do that. But when we do that, for us, it's actually minimum intervention. Mm-hmm. What we're doing is facilitating good corporate networking within that environment. So we hope the corporates get a lot out of the engagement on the day, that they learn more about us on the day and what we're doing. And as you have done, because of course I met the Sharpsmart team through them joining one of our golf days, encourage them to think about how your corporate social responsibility programme could work alongside our own, mm-hmm. and we could help each other within the community.
And what I will say as well, it's not like you rested on your laurels. You contacted many people in an organisation to try and drive that awareness. So it's great to see the passion and focus that you have and the success that you're getting from it. And I would say to anybody else, just to, if you're being reached out to, respond, listen, and support.
Very good cause that affects everybody at the end of the day.
I think we've all in our lifetime had cause to use the NHS mm-hmm. at some time. And very often when you speak to someone, it involves an accident or emergency situation. They tend to think, I don't know, my child fell off the bike and they broke their arm or knocked the head and I was unsure, and we went there quickly in that state. Or they think of the happy times, like a birth, like celebrating a birth, or those times where sadly they have to say goodbye to someone. But everything in between, the NHS is there for you, literally from birth through to saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. And I suppose one of the things for me, and I think of us even through COVID, you know, that was a real hard time for everybody, but particularly for NHS staff. And again, we've helped fund a lot of mental health resilience training for our staff as well, because there is nothing more unnatural for a nurse than not to be holding somebody's hand as they sadly leave this world, and to be on 3 layers of plastic gloves and layers and a mask on, and them being the only person to say goodbye to an individual in a bed was really traumatic. And we funded iPads so that families could remain in touch, whether they were living in Spennymoor and because of COVID restrictions couldn't come into the hospital, weren't allowed in, and the only way to say goodbye or continue talking to the loved one was via an iPad. Or in some cases, the families were remote, that they were in Australia or Canada, or we've had lots of letters from families who said, you know, I thank God that you had that technology, that we could talk to our loved ones literally until their last breath. But we didn't have that technology at the time. It was an adverse situation that drove us to add that innovation, to be there. And now we take it for granted in our palliative care areas that technology is available. So again, we're driven through innovation and trying new equipment a lot through the staff, and some of that equipment simply wouldn't be available to the trust other than through charitable donations. So we ourselves are learning all the time as well. But when you see great outcomes, you know, where families have managed to have some level of connectivity that wouldn't have been there, we hope it makes the passing and the separation easier.
Absolutely. And you'd be pleased to know, I think the team have been on site over the last few weeks mobilising our reusable Sharps container systems, so the whole trust is going to be fully rolled over the next couple of weeks. So that will drive some benefits for the trust on carbon and cost, and the diversion of waste for more sustainable outcomes. So, you know, we are fully invested and excited about this partnership.
I've seen the Sharps training coming on. So it comes round, so we've got the internal bulletin that comes round every Monday. So I hope the picture from today, I probably missed the deadline to get it out for Monday, so it might be the next Monday. But I've seen the training courses come out, so they come out every Monday, and they actually say training is in all of these areas, and sign on and log on. So it is there, and you know, I've seen it on the site.
Been well received.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, really
Pleased.
good.
So no, that's brilliant. Thank you.